Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation where today I really want to go in deeply and talk about the simplicity of trading with the PTS XT Indicator. This is probably, excuse me, our most popular and you'll see in just a few seconds our simplest tool to trade with. I mean, we're in the second or third week of the year so far and I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, regardless of how long they've been trading. They're having a difficult time still within the market. So today I'm going to break precedent today and just show you how simple it is to be consistent. Now, as you all know, I've spoken about this many times before. I started my career on the floor of the stock exchange. And when I first started, I struggled tremendously. So here is what my mentors first said to me. They said, Steve, trading is really simple. It's the trader who makes it more difficult than it has to be. So if you're having difficulty right now, think of how you're actually executing your trading plan. You have tons of indicators. Are you watching far too much news? Are you listening to too many people in trading rooms or chat rooms or blogs? There's just so many things that you can pile on to make your trading more difficult. And it's really the trader who does it. So I'm happy to share with you that all of our methods are extremely simple. And this is what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Like I said, we're going to go right into it and go into detail and show you how simple it is. But before we begin, as always, we're first required by law to share this with you. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this simple way of trading the PTS XT. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. Okay. Once again, we're going to break precedent here. We're going to jump right into it. Not a lot of announcements. We're just going to go in and show you how simple it is. So let's begin. And I know a lot of times, I'm sure you've gone to webinars. I know I still go to webinars to see what everyone else is teaching out there. And so many times they will show you examples of great trades, hitting home runs. And then you look at the date and they were 6 months, maybe a year ago. All right. I'm not going to share with you things that are that old today. In fact, everything you're going to be seeing today happened within the last 2 to 3 weeks. At the very beginning of the year. So this is what you could have done if you had chosen to trade this way with the PTS XT since the beginning of the year, okay? All right, so let's start. Let's look at this chart in Sun W, okay? All right, so someone looking at this would say, well, you know, I've been following this, let's say fundamentally. They like the sector, they like the group, just don't know where to get in or how to trade it. Here is the simple process. First thing you want to do on our platform is click on the PTS XT Extreme Trend tab right here in the upper green hand column there. Once you click that on, you'll see this drop down menu. All you have to do is click on highlighted signal. Now what that does, if this tool discerns that there's a strong extreme trend either in play or about to begin, it will color a box around the setup bar. So as you can see here, this is the yellow box. So what does the yellow box mean? It means that this is a yellow buy block. If you get a yellow buy block, that means that most likely, not guaranteed, but a high probability that this stock, this future, whatever you're trading is going to go up, and not just up at a slow trend, but it kind of have a nice extreme uptrend. Sometimes it goes straight up. Sometimes it just kind of goes in a nice orderly fashion, but you'll see it go up a good portion of the time. So a lot of the traders say, that's great, Steve, but how do I get in? What do I do? Well, there are a lot of techniques for trading this. We teach this in the course, but let me share with you the simplest one because that's the theme of today, simplicity. So once you click that on and you see that there is a yellow block around price, what you want to look for is a down day, all right? These are the price bars that are colored black, as you see right here. So this is a down day. So why are we interested in this? Well, basically, in other words, if the stock has a high probability for going higher, you want to buy a day where it was lower, right? To get a nice inexpensive price. So right here off the bat, this was on the 8th of January. You could have seen this setup and just said, okay, I'm going to buy this roughly around $8. And coming into, I believe yesterday, the stock was up to 14, okay? Now remember, see how simple this is? That's it. That's the process. Nothing more complicated than that, right? You didn't have to look at news. I mean, you could if you wanted to. You didn't have to look at earnings. You didn't have to have tons of indicators on your screen. You didn't have to listen to your friend down the street tell you what he thinks you should buy or sell. All you did was yourself. You clicked on the PTS XT, saw if there was a yellow block, and bought a down day. Now, let's say you missed that. Well, guess what? On the 15th, which was last Friday, I believe, it closed down again. If you decided to, you could have bought right here, roughly about 11 and a quarter. Stock went up to 14 the next day. Could have had a nice little one-day trade if you wanted to. Let's look at another example. INTC, Intel, okay? Once again, let's say you've been following this or following the group. You're interested in it. You just don't have any idea. Let's say that strategy you paid $10,000 for doesn't work. It's all losses. Let's say that friend you have keeps telling you what to buy or what to sell, and he says, no, you don't want to touch this. This is a bad group. There's going to have some bad news come out. So you don't know what to do. What is the market telling you what to do? Well, that's what the PTS XT does, all right? So we click that on. In the drop-down menu, all we have to do is click on highlighted signal. We're looking for a block. And there it is again. There's a yellow buy block painted around the last 3 bars. Let's say we missed the first couple of days. Well, guess what? The last day is a down day right here. Why? It's down because it's colored black and opened here and closed lower. So that's your buy setup. You could have purchased on that day, which was the 8th. And as you can see, you would have bought it roughly about 51.5. Stock was trading at 60.5 in about 4 or 5 days, a quick 9 points. Now, obviously, there was some reason why this gapped up on this day. Probably some news, maybe some announcement, maybe some earnings, who knows? The point is, we knew well before that announcement or that reason for that to gap up came out. So that's why we say, listen, if you want to, you're more than free to go ahead and look at news or announcements. But why? Because this indicator told you in advance that this was a buy well before that news or that announcement came out. So that's why we say news is in no way required when you're trading with any of our methods or strategies. So if you missed that one, once again, you could have taken the second one. Even when it gapped up and closed lower, roughly could have bought this around 57. The stock was up over 60 the next day. Okay. All right, let's look at some more examples here. TME. Now, this stock has been steadily going up. Let's say you think, well, it's kind of going up, but it looks like it's rolling over. 2 down days, right? But if we apply the PTS XT, well, it was already announced at the very first day of January, first day of trading, that it was in an uptrend, extreme uptrend. So had you not bought it there and you were waiting for this technique, well, on the 12th and 13th, there were 2 down days. So you had 2 days to choose from to buy on those down days. And look what happened. The stock roughly went from 21 up to 27 in the next week. A nice 6 points in about 3 or 4 days. As we look at Triple D, this is 3D Systems Corp. All right, once again, this was kind of going sideways, but on the 7th of January, a couple of weeks ago, it shot straight up. But now it looks like it's kind of rolling over, right? Kind of really went up a little bit too quickly. It looks like it's rolling over, so you don't want to touch this, right? Well, remember, you're in charge. We're just sharing with you ways in which to trade. But ultimately, it's your decision. Now, we want to make it simple for you. So the first thing you do is apply the PTS XT. And even though we missed this big jump here, these remaining 4 bars are in the yellow buy block. So if you chose to do so, these were 2 buying opportunities right here because they closed lower. They closed down. And you could have purchased at 24. The stock was up 9 points in 3 days. This was all in this last week or so. Let's look at FCX, okay? Now, coming into January, the first trading day in January, we had been going up. We hadn't caught any of this yet. If we applied the PTS XT, well, on the last day of last year, 2020, we could have had a nice buying opportunity. But once again, let's only look and see what we could have done from the beginning of this new year. So let's say we were out of town or we just weren't watching the market. We didn't see this. But the very next day, we see we are still in the yellow buy block and we have another down day. Why is it down? Because it's got the black body, okay? That's a down day. So we could have bought either one of these, but if we missed this one and we're only looking at it from the first of the year, we could have bought right here, roughly 27 and a quarter. Stock went up roughly 5 points coming into the 14th, okay? And there was another buy opportunity right here. I'm just trying to tell you, it does not get simpler than this. I mean, this is the extent of your decision-making process. If you decide to trade this way, it's really that simple. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, does every trade work out like this? Is there 100% winners? No. There are instances where it will go sideways for a long time and then just kind of run out of gas. Or there are instances where the minute you buy, it goes straight down. But we share with you in the course ways to protect yourself, to keep your losses to a minimum. If someone tells you in a webinar that they never lose, I always say run, because that just doesn't work. It doesn't happen. I've been trading for 44 years now. You're always going to have losing trades. That's just the way it happens. Every athlete will have a bad day, won't make baskets, won't hit a home run, won't even hit the ball. Every performer will have a bad night, will be off key or won't be acting well. It's just that way in life. So there will be bad trades. That's okay, as long as you protect yourself and keep your losses to a minimum, which we teach you how to do in the courses. You'll be okay over time. Let's look at CCIV. Okay, this was coming into the middle of this month right now. All right, so we had a really nice run up here, and then we opened higher and closed lower. If we apply the PTS XT Extreme Trend tool, we see that it didn't generate any signal here, but on this day it did. This is where a lot of students have trouble to say, well, Steve, how can I buy this? It's, at the high of the little run up, it was trading roughly about $10. Now it's up to roughly 15, but it closed on the low. How can I buy it up this high and it just doesn't feel good to me? Well, remember, you are in charge. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but this is a high probability buy setup. Remember, if you're in the yellow block already, you have a high probability that it's going to go higher. And if it closes down on the day, the way we have it right here, this is a high probability buy setup. So let's say we had bought here, roughly about 14. Well, the stock went up 7 points in the next 3 days. And if you missed that one buy opportunity, you had another one there. You could have bought around 17, and it went up roughly 3 points in the next day. Let's look at SENS. All right, this is if you happen to miss trades. Now we know that, we can't go back and say, gosh, sometimes I'll click up a stock and I'll look at and apply the PTS XT and I missed a lot of good setups. Well, let's see how that would have worked out in this stock. If we apply the tool, we see here that yes, we have a yellow block all the way from December 24th, Christmas Eve, and it was in yellow the entire time, price was. So if we're only going to be trading from January 1st or January 4th, the first trading day of the year, we wouldn't have taken advantage of these. But look at all of the buy setups right here in a row. Remember, the buy setup is simply a down day, a black body covered by a yellow block. And as you can see here, we have a real nice consecutive area here of buying opportunities. You could have chosen any one of, I believe, these 3, 4, 5, 6 setups, okay? Let's say you bought on average at $1, all right? Now, this is an inexpensive stock, so for $1, you could have bought, thousands and thousands of shares if you wanted to. But let's say you bought roughly at $1. Well, the stock price gained 200% in 1 week, all right? Obviously, something caused it to shoot up. This is something that you'll see oftentimes with the PTS XT. Oftentimes, the stock will go literally sideways, the way you saw here, for a week, 2 weeks, without doing anything, but it'll be in a yellow block. And you'll say to yourself, how can I hold on to this stuff? If nothing's happening, you'll start to doubt it. You'll start to get worried. You won't feel comfortable holding on to a position where nothing is happening. And that's okay. You have a choice to get out if you want to. But many times it will go sideways because it's coiling. It's getting ready to break out to the upside. So as you saw here, this stock went from literally 1 up to 3.25 in about a week or so. So that's 200%. Imagine if you own Tesla and it went up 200% in 1 week, okay? So this is the beauty of this tool. Oftentimes you'll get in and it'll take off the next day. Other times you'll get in and you may have to wait a couple of weeks. Now, if you did not take advantage of all of these buy signals here the first week in January, well, you could have had another chance to take advantage right here, about roughly at 1.5, and it went up roughly about 100% the next day. Okay, let's look at another stock, okay? Once again, someone looking at this would say, well, gosh, this has had a nice run up. Look at, we've had 4 or 5 days of straight up days. And here, it looks like we have a bearish engulfing pattern or a dark cloud cover. I took that $10,000 class on candlestick patterns. That's a very negative sign, usually happening at the top of a trend. So I don't really want to buy this. And that chat room I go to, the guy really doesn't like this. He was long earlier. He got out, he made a couple of points, and he thinks you should sell this now. So all my justification for trading this is either not to touch it or to sell it, right? Does it sound familiar? Let's keep things simple. Remember, It's the trader that makes things more complicated than they have to be. How do you make things complicated? By paying too much attention to what someone else is saying, either on TV or even in a webinar. By putting too much stress and importance on outside information like earnings, like fundamental news, like what the company's doing. That will overcomplicate your trading. You'll outguess yourself and be out of sync with the market, and most likely you'll have a series of losses. Keep it simple. That's the way you get on that road to consistency. All right? It's the simple things that work, not the overcomplicated things that work. For some reason, we've all been taught that the more complicated your trading plan is, the more profitable it will be, right? And that actually is the opposite. If there's one thing I've learned in over 4 decades of trading, it's the simple things that have more validity than the complicated ones. So it does not get any more simpler than this. You apply the PTS XT. You see that, well, the whole time we were in the yellow block. But if you missed that, this is a buying opportunity right here, roughly at 40 on the 15th, which was last week. And the stock shot up to 62. That's 22 points in one day. Okay, you could have made a nice 22 points, said thank you, I'm out. Now, a lot of students always ask me, they say, well, Steve, should I buy the stock or should I buy the option? Should I buy a spread? Remember, that is entirely up to you. We, as an educator, are simply teaching you high probability areas for entry or for exit. How you decide to get in is your decision, all right? In other words, let's say you wanted to learn how to play golf. I could show you how to stand, the proper placement of your hips, the proper way to hold the golf clubs. But then if you ask me to golf for you, I'm going to say, no, you've got to golf. You've got to be the one to go out there. I cannot do that for you. I'm not going to tell you what set of golf clubs to buy. I'm not going to tell you which course you should go golfing at. That's up to you to decide. I'm just here to teach you so that once you go into the game, you can make your own decision. It's the same way with trading. I'm here to show you high probability setups. If you purchase the calls, that's great. If you purchase a spread, that's fine. If you decide to buy the actual stock, that's fine too. Remember, it's your decision. Let's look at the next stock here in Tesla. Okay, let's go through the entire process so that you fully understand the simplicity of this technique. All right, so let's say we're looking at Tesla. As we can see here, at the end of December, coming into the beginning of the year, Tesla had been going pretty much a nice orderly up process, but it's expensive stock. Roughly went from $600 all the way to $750. So 150 points it went up in roughly a week or two. So we're kind of leery about maybe buying the options. I'm sure most of you will probably buy options because it's expensive stock. But let's see what the market's telling us. We apply our tool, the PTS XT. Click it on our PTS Primo charting platform. In the drop-down menu, all we have to do is click on highlighted signal. That's it. And there's been a yellow block since Christmas Eve. Now, we had a buying opportunity right here. It would have worked out very nicely. Why? Because this is the technique I'm teaching you. You want to buy the days that close down, which are the black boxes. And this would have been a perfect setup. We could have bought it right here, roughly about 650. The stock is now up 100 points in a week. But we missed it because, let's say, once again, we're out of town or we're only going to start trading at the beginning of the year. But we want to keep tracking this because we like Tesla. All right, so let's see what happened after the 5th. Well, the very next day, we opened higher but closed lower. Why? Because it's a dark body. That's a down day. That is a high probability point of entry using this technique. So even though we missed this and we missed a nice 100 points, the stock is telling us, hey, listen, I'm giving you another chance. Now you may say, but it's gone up too high. What will the stock say? I'm giving you another chance. You say, but wait a minute, the market's way too high, it's overbought. And the stock would once again say, I'm giving you another chance. And then last you'd say, but that guy in the chat room thinks that you're going to really go down. There's going to be some bad news about you. And Tesla would say, this is your last chance. Okay? You don't want to do it, don't do it. But remember, the market is not something you compete with. It's your best friend. It's something you want to be in sync with. So all you have to do was buy on that day, which was the 6th of January. And in 2 days, you could have roughly made 125 points, okay? What roughly took a week or so to make, you could have made it in 2 days off of that. And remember, the whole time Tesla was saying, why don't you come on board? I'm trying to show you a real high probability setup. But unfortunately, as traders, we're always taught the opposite. We want to battle with the stock. We want to say it's too high. We want to say it's too low. We want to believe some guy on TV more than what it's telling us right in front of our faces. Remember, keep things simple. That's how you get to that road to success. Now, I know a lot of you don't just trade stocks. Maybe you'll trade different time frames. Maybe you'll trade other markets. So let's show you in a few examples how you can apply this to other time frames and other markets. Here's a weekly chart of FCX. We looked at a daily chart a few moments ago. Let's look at a weekly chart, okay? Now, once again, this has had a nice steady upward course since August, actually. So once again, this is where traders get scared. They say to themselves, well, gosh, you know, this is going up a little bit too much. I'm kind of scared here. Well, if you feel scared, you don't have to trade. But if you want to go through your fear, all you have to do is click on the PTS Extreme tab, and you'll see that it's been on a weekly time frame in a yellow block zone. So the indicator is telling you that, well, you know, most likely we want to go higher. And what do we have here? We have 3 down weeks. Remember, each one of these bars is a week. This was in July, and this was in the beginning of August. So you could have had your pick of each one of these weeks to buy, okay? That's the beauty of it, because, you know, it's just not usually going to give you 1 or 2 signals. It'll give you a lot. So right here, in the middle of July, you could have purchased this stock roughly about $12 or $13. And as we look forward in FCX on a weekly time frame, we see the stock went up to roughly 33. So that's a nice 20 points or so in roughly about 6 months coming into this month. Now, if you missed those, look at all the other examples you had to get back in. You could have taken advantage of all these down days. So this is the beauty of this tool. Let's look at another example on a longer time frame. Once again, we'll look at an ALB chart. This is a weekly time frame. This is where students get scared. They say, this is up way too high. I can't buy this. All right, the stock was roughly traded at par at 100. Now it's at 140. I just missed 40 points. How can I buy this now? Well, you don't have to once again, but if you walk through the fear and just click on PTS XT Extreme, click on Highlight Signal, you'll see that the tool actually called a buy signal right here on this first week of November. All right, at roughly 120. You could have been long if you purchased on the very first bar, but if you missed it, the stock on a weekly time frame is giving you a second and third chance to get in right here. This was in the first week of December. You could have purchased at any 2 of these down weeks, roughly at 140. Whoops. And the stock went up 50 points in the next 2 months, okay? And there was one more buying opportunity right here. Let's look at another market, an entirely different time frame. Let's look at GILD. I'm sorry, this is a weekly time frame, but this is an entirely different direction, I should say. Once again, this has been going straight down. The stock was roughly trading around 78, 75. It's now trading about 10 points lower. You're thinking, well, Steve, you know, I went to that trading room. That guy, he says he never loses. He said, you got to buy this. You know, this is a really great stock to buy. It's oversold. The group is doing great, the healthcare sector, and you want to buy this because it's lagging the group. So why not get in at the very lows, okay? That is the epitome of how most traders make their decisions, on an outside source. They're not making their decision off what the market's doing and what the market is telling them, all right? So what is the market telling us? We click on the PTS XT tab, click on highlighted signal, and this is a red sell block. This is the opposite of what I've been sharing with you. Remember, a yellow buy block is where you want to only look at the market from a buyer's perspective. When you get that red sell block, you want to be looking for selling opportunities. So now what we do is we just turn the tables upside down. Rather than looking for down days, we are looking for up days, because that's where we're going to sell. That's where we're going to short. We can buy the puts, we can sell short the stock. But either way, we have a series of down days here because they're the black bodies. And then we have 1, 2, 3 up days right here. These are the open bodies. So this is giving you 3 opportunities to sell here, here, and here, roughly about 65. Now, where that guy in that chat room or that blog said you have to buy this, look what happened. The stock fell 10 points coming into the last month, or December, I should say. Okay? So it's my experience that anyone that tells you what they think the market's going, they don't. No, you should never ask anyone what you think the market's going to do or what you think this stock's going to do. Because once you have the proper tools and you've educated yourself, you know what you think it's going to do. Now, it doesn't guarantee that you're always right. But if you're asking someone for advice, basically what you're saying is, I don't know what to do. I don't have enough experience. I'm not knowledgeable enough, and I don't trust myself. So why don't you tell me? And this is the way the entire industry is based on. You going to a chat room, a trading room, even a webinar, and having someone tell you what to buy or sell. That goes entirely against our philosophy here at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. We never want you to ask anyone what you think you should do. We want you to look at a chart, apply a few tools, a few indicators, and then you can say to yourself, I have a clear-cut plan what I want to do. That is how you become a consistent trader, not by asking other people. You have to make your own decisions if you want to be successful in the markets. All right, let's look at a 10-minute chart of the E-mini futures. This is the market I trade. Okay, once again, we have kind of a nice upward move in the markets. Should we buy? Should we sell? Let's see. Well, there's a yellow buy block. So nothing changes because we're looking at a different market. Nothing changes because we're looking at a different time frame. This is a 10-minute bar here. All these bars are 10 minutes in length. So we use the same concept. We wait for down days, which are right here, down blocks, I should say, down 10-minute blocks. One right here, another one right here, as designated by the black body. So you could have purchased right here or right here, and look what happened. This was last week, 22 points in one day. That's $1,100 per contract that you could have made if you held on, if you decided to hold on. Now, if you missed buying down there at the very beginning of this yellow buy block, well, look at all the other opportunities you had to go long, okay? It's simple. You don't have to overcomplicate your trading. Just keep it as simple as possible. Let's look at a 4-hour chart of the euro-yen for all you forex traders out there that like to trade the currency pairs, okay? Looks like we're making a base here, right? We had a down 4-hour bar here, and then we're kind of holding. It's a nice holding pattern, so we're probably making a base, right? We'll probably want to rally, right? You should buy this, right? What is the market telling us rather than the justifications we've been taught? Well, there's a red sell block. The market's telling us that most likely, not guaranteed, but most likely we're going lower. So you don't want to buy in a red sell block. You only want to be selling. Now, if you're going to use this technique, well, you simply wait for the first up bar, which is right here, because it has the open body, and sell right there. And look what happened. 100 pips in the next 2 or 3 days. That's $1,000 per euro-yen contract, okay? If you had decided to hold on. Now, some of our students go for a quick, $50 and they say, thank you, I'm out. That's enough for me today. I'm going to go on to the next one. That's fine. Others say, I'm going to stay in for as long as possible. I'm going to go for 200 pips. That's fine too. In fact, in our courses, we have upwards of 7 different exit points. This is just one of the techniques for trading. We have other ways to enter, other ways to place your stop as well. So remember, our job as an educator is not to trade for you. Our job is to teach you all these things so that you can decide how you want to enter, how you want to exit. Lastly, let's look at Bitcoin here, XBT USD, okay? We all know that Bitcoin has been going straight up. How could we have caught this? Well, let's look back in December, all right? Let's go through the process here. It's been going straight up since December, but now it's having some trouble here. Most likely we've met some type of resistance. This is where the big banks are selling it, so we don't want to buy, right? But if we apply the PTS XT, we see it's in a yellow block. Even though it's been going sideways for the past week or so, it's still telling us it wants to go higher. So using this technique, we are going to be buying all the days it closed down. And those are represented by the black boxes right here. So we're going to be buying, we had actually 3 chances to buy right here. And we've all seen what Bitcoin has done. It continues to make new highs and has gone higher and higher. So don't ever let anyone tell you that you don't know how to trade. This is as simple as it gets. You could have done this last month and gotten long Bitcoin well before it took off, simply by applying this easy and uncomplicated technique. Okay, remember, if you're not familiar with the PTS XT, it's an indicator designed to identify extreme trends in advance. We have other tools that identify trends, but they're not meant to identify a trend that's really supposed to take off. They're just supposed to identify a trend that may be going sideways, maybe going very orderly. They're just basically translating what the trend is. The only job of the PTS XT is to identify those extreme trends. And think of it, aren't those the ones you want to be trading? Those are the ones you want to be in because that's where the quick, low-hanging fruit is. That's where the quick, fast money is. So its only job is to identify those extreme trends. Sometimes you can wait for a couple of weeks before you'll see a yellow or a red box. Sometimes you'll see a number of them, okay? It all depends on what the stock wants to do or what the market wants to do. Now remember, it's based on multiple proprietary indicators and their relationship to one another. So when everything clicks, when all these indicators line up and meet their requirements, that's when most likely an extreme trend is about to take place. That's where you want to be in some way or another. Lastly, it's official. Not only is it extremely popular, it's our most popular tool we have now at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. It's also the simplest trading tool to apply. All right. Well, I can't think of a better way to have a powerful tool by being able to apply it in the simplest form possible. All right. Usually when someone advertises, someone says, oh, we have this great system or we have this great indicator. And then you go and see a webinar on it or you purchase it for thousands and thousands of dollars. And you say to yourself, I have no idea how to use this. It's so complicated. I think I just wasted $10,000. I think I just wasted a ton of money. And not only that, I'm losing money trading with it because I really don't understand it. All right. I've just shown you one of the dozens of ways to apply the PTS XT, and it doesn't get any simpler than what I just shared with you. So let's review. Let's review the process. Remember, what you want to do is simply whatever chart you're looking at, doesn't matter what market, what time frame. First thing you do, step one, plot the PTS XT Extreme Trend Indicator. Okay. Now, in a yellow buy block, you want to buy the down days. Step three, in a red sell block, you want to sell the up days. That's it, okay? You have the rules right there. How you decide to get out, how you decide to place your stop, we teach you in the course, but it doesn't get any easier than this as a setup. This is it. Someone would say, but Steve, don't you need to know the earnings? No, it's not required. So, well, Steve, don't you have to apply other indicators along with it? Don't you have to look at the buy-sell line? Don't you? Nope, not required. Everything's factored in. Say, but Steve, what about the company or the sector is not very good, or maybe it is good. I got a sell block. Don't you need to know what's going on with the company? No, not required. Remember, it is the simplest thing in the world to overcomplicate your trading, but it's the most difficult thing in the world to simplify it. That takes a lot of character. Why? Because you've got to throw away all these things that for some reason you were taught are supposed to work. But let me tell you, I've been trading for 44 years now. Most of the things we think work, they really don't. There's no consistency. They'll work every once in a while and give you this false sense of security that, wow, okay, I'm back on track. But if you keep on applying them, you'll see that they really don't work. So we want to make you a consistent trader so that you'll be trading for 20, 30, 40 years down the road. Remember, this is all applied easily and simply on the PTS Primo charting platform. Everything you saw today was displayed coming from our platform. All the examples were snapshots on how simple it is to apply on the PTS Primo charts. This is the platform that identifies these extreme trends in advance with one click of your mouse. Now remember, as an educator, my goal is not to force feed you signals. It's not to do what so many other so-called educators do in webinars that tell you what they think the market's going to do or what they think the stock's going to do or what they should buy or sell. We don't believe in that. I had a friend ask me that last week, and I said, I really don't know. I have no idea. I just go along with whatever direction it's going. So the point is, my goal as an educator is simply to teach you how to trade with the Specialist Edge. The Specialist Edge is rooted in simplicity. Why is it simple? So that you can make, for the very first time, your own trading decisions. Now, as we close here, I want you to ask yourself, do you think this indicator in its simplicity can help you with your trading throughout 2021? I think your answer will be a resounding yes. So because of your taking out time today on this Wednesday to come hear me speak, I'd like to have a special offer to give you today. Here it is. This is our Trade with Simplicity offer. This is the PTS XT Extreme Trend. You're going to get the full course everything all together included, and that comes along with the PTS Primo charting platform. New customers will receive 12 months free. Both of these together are worth thousands and thousands of dollars. We have a great offer for you today, but let me just share with you what's included with the platform, because I know a lot of you say, well, I used Metastock, or I use TradeStation, or I use Sierra Charts or NinjaTrader. Why do I need the platform? Because there is so much more also included on our platform. Not only do you get one-click access with the PTS XT, but you also get our enhanced buy-sell line features, 4 features to tell the overall trend. You also get a strength of trend tool, a tool that you can apply with the PTS XT that has a really uncanny ability to tell you oftentimes when the trend is running out of steam or if it still has more left in the tank. You also get many different auto-generated exit levels. Just one click away, you'll see these exit levels. You can use them on your computer if you want to use them to get out. Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, along with personalized tech support. But here, I think, is the most important. Along with all the dozens more that you don't see here, all the dozen different features, here, I think, is probably the best thing included with this, and that is our signal scanner. Okay, let me share with you how simple it is, because I have a pet peeve using scanners. I have traded with probably about 5 dozen different platforms in the course of my trading career, and I've never really been happy with the majority of them. Why? Because once again, they make things too complicated. I can tell you without mentioning any names that sometimes I've wanted to scan for certain things, and it has taken me all day to figure out how to use a scanner. Some of them, I never even figured it out. It was just too complicated. Let me share with you how simple it is. I specifically designed this with proprietary strategies to make it simple. All right, so remember that tab you would find the PTS XT. What I want you to do is click that on again, but instead of clicking on highlight signal, click on scan. And what you're going to see is this window, or I should say this page appear, okay? This is the PTS Extreme Trend Scanning page. Now, if you look in the left-hand corner, you'll see the different directions and tools. What you want to do is click on Load Symbols. We have a list of symbols anywhere from currency pairs, NASDAQ exchange stocks, overseas stocks, over-the-counter. We have commodities, futures, New York Stock Exchange stocks, anything you want to choose from, also different time frames, intraday as well. So you choose whatever market or whatever data you're interested in. Let's say you just wanted to look at the NASDAQ 100, okay? In probably half a second, you'll see it appear. Then you simply click on Scan. That's it. This two-step process probably takes you about 30 seconds. On the far right, you'll see a series of red or green horizontal bars. The red bars mean those corresponding stocks just generated sell blocks, red sell blocks. The ones on the right, the green ones, have been generating yellow buy blocks. Now, let's say you had this tool, you were already a student of ours, and last week you did a scan. You would have seen that there was a yellow buy box around ETSY, ETSY. This was actually on the 13th. So saying to yourself, well, I did this scan, it's in the yellow box, but I missed the first couple of days. But guess what? I took that course that Steve talked about, and here's a down day. So let's say you decided to buy it right here, roughly around 204. Maybe you bought the calls, maybe you actually bought the stock. This was on the 15th. This was Friday, just a couple of days ago, a couple of trading days ago. Well, you would have purchased at the close of that day based on your scan, based on the technique I just spent the last half hour teaching you that you already know all the rules to. Stock jumped 17 points in the next day. That was Tuesday, the first trading day of this week. That was yesterday, in fact. Okay? Not a bad little day trade, right? 17 points in one day. Now, did we look at the news of the company, why it was going up? No. Did we have you follow a ton of other indicators and requirements to make sure you made your decision correctly? No. Did we look at the earnings or what was going on, or maybe listen to some guy on a blog that you had to read first before you made your decision? No. So what was the process? All we did was scan. We found a yellow buy block around ETSY. We saw that there was a down day on Friday, so we purchased at the close of the day, and we made 17 points the next day. Now, if you wanted to hold on, you could hold on. I think it's a little bit higher today. You could have sold and said, hey, 17 points, I'm out. That's a nice one-day trade. It's up to you. You are in charge. But this shows you how simple trading can be. So let's go into it. Let's break it down what our simplicity in trading offer actually is for all of you. Now, if you purchased all of this together. The regular extreme trend tool price is close to $5,000. That's how powerful this tool is. We're not going to charge you that. We're going to discount this tremendously. For a one-time only payment of $497, you can already be up and running and then just make simply monthly payments of $97 a month. That's it. Okay, so for 10%, just to put down $497, that's all, and then each month, $97. You can be up and running as early as today. Now, we have a number of people who say, Steve, listen, I don't want a monthly payment. I'm sold. How can I just buy this? Well, we're not going to charge you $49.95. We'll still give you a discount, and we'll take off $500. You pay only $44.95, okay? But this is fantastic because on top of this really, discounted price, you're still going to get the new customers will receive 1 year free of the platform. That's thousands of dollars already on the side that we're giving you totally free. So for roughly $497, less than $500, you can be up and running as early as today, along with a full year of the platform, all the different tools and everything included in that, and just pay $97 per month. One more thing I didn't mention, along with the PTS XT Simplicity course, you will get educational correspondence. That's my personal email. You can contact me whenever you'd like with a question, and I try to get back to everyone within the next 24 hours. So contact me whenever you have a question, if you think that you're doing it correctly or incorrectly, and I can be there to answer any question that you may have, okay? This all comes with your purchase. It's like having your own personal mentor right there, right alongside with you. Remember, you have to take your trading to the next level. The way to do that is with the new PTS XT Extreme Trend Indicator. You can make things simple, and you can have a powerful tool, and for the very first time, you'll feel confident in your trading. I can't tell you the amount of testimonials I've received from new students as well as old students. People have been just started trading, as well as people have been trading for years. They said this tool, for the very first time, has really gotten me to become a consistent trader. That's how powerful it is, but it's extremely simple. Let me take you with your trading to the next level. Let me teach you how you can get there, okay? Become a student of mine in the PTS XT Extreme Trend class. Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. I developed the platform with them. They're in charge of all the discounting and all the pricing of all my courses. I would strongly suggest calling them, because if you want to suggest a payment plan where you put down less than $500, you can be up and running as early as today. They can take your order over the phone. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy to either take your order or to answer any questions you have about the course, or about payment plans, or about anything else with tech support. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page as well as the sign up page, but it's not a live link. A live link has just been posted in the chat box. So if you want to go over to the chat box there in the far right hand corner, you can click that link on and you can open up the page, okay? Now, I promised you I would be answering any questions you may have, so I'll leave this information right up here. And remember, I would really strongly suggest calling Pro Trader Strategies at the number there, because they can answer any questions you have about price if you do have them. Okay, a couple of questions here. First one, can you look at WWR? Unfortunately, I don't have access to live charts right now. This was a static PowerPoint presentation, so I really don't have that right now, so sorry about that. But if you become a course member for less than, you can be looking at the entire universe of stocks, thousands and thousands of stocks by this afternoon, okay? Someone was asking, I think you came in a little late, does this work on intraday trading? Yes, it does. Now, one thing I have to tell you with intraday trading, if the markets are slow, the way you go into sometimes in the summer, or the way you'll see in the afternoon hours, it will generate a lot of false buy and sell signals, because why? Because, if you're looking at a 2-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, sometimes you'll get whipsawed. That's with any strategy. That's with any, it doesn't matter if it's a PTS XT or something from another educator. So the smaller time frame you go, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But when you get those really strong trending markets like you saw today, when the market was going straight up, I don't know what it's doing now, but prior to this, the market had been going straight up all day. In fact, I used this earlier today. I was using this on a range chart, and it worked very well. I had a nice profitable trade. So when you have these really strong trending markets, that's when intraday this works really well. So that's the only caveat I can say about intraday trading. Okay. Steve, when you said you give educational correspondence, what exactly is that? Well, once again, you get my email address, my personal email address. You can contact me whenever you'd like, on the weekends, in the middle of the night. We have students that are in Europe, that are in, across the United States, different time zones, and I'm getting emails all at different times. So it doesn't matter. You can always ask me a question, and I'll get back to you. Usually, if you ask our students within the next 24 hours, I answer all questions. Sometimes within the next 5 minutes, if I have time and I have a moment to look at your question. So basically, I can't be sitting next to all of our hundreds of thousands of students around the world, but the best next thing is I can look at your work and I can correspond with you via email and answer your questions right there in a matter of moments. Okay, so that's what this basically is. Good question. So someone is asking, how long will this offer run? Well, I think that's probably a better question for Pro Trader Strategies, since they are in charge of all of our pricing and discounts. I would probably ask them. I can just say offhand, most of the promotions last anywhere from a couple of days to a week, and then we move on to the next one. For example, next week, next Wednesday, I'll be talking about an entirely different course, an entirely different way to trade, an entirely different price and discount. It may be more expensive, it may be less, but I'm telling you honestly, I use the PTS XT in my trading, and it's just so simple to use. I want you to become a consistent trader, but in order to do that, I don't want to overcomplicate things for you. So simplicity is really what gets you there. So why not, really stress the simple things that work? So that's really what I'd like to do with the PTS XT. It's our most popular tool we have amongst all our students, as well as our most powerful. This is the one I would like to see the majority of our traders trading with. And I can't think of a better way to get started for such an inexpensive price. So as we close up here, if there are no further questions, remember, if you have questions concerning price or tech support, or if you already have the platform, let's say, and you'd like to take advantage of something else, contact Pro Trader Strategies. They're very flexible. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. They would be more than happy to answer any question you have. And they can actually take your order over the phone if you're ready to sign up and become a student, okay? Now, as we close, one last thing I just wanted to mention. If you're looking for more education on a daily basis, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. There's my handle right there. You may want to copy that down. I tweet on a daily basis anywhere from signals our strategies have generated. You can go on there right now and see a number of examples with the PTS XT, or I give little bits of financial wisdom along the way that I've accumulated. So lots of great free education on a daily basis. So please feel free to follow me on Twitter. Now, as we close one last time and look at our disclaimer, I just want to say thank you so much for attending. I really wish you the best of luck in trading. I hope you become consistent in the weeks or months to come. But most especially, I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PTS XT Extreme Trend course. It's the simplest but most powerful way I know of to become a consistent trader. Thank you so much for attending. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.